Listen, everybody thinks love is just this fluffy, romantic, Instagram-filtered thing. They talk about roses, dates, sweet words, and all that surface-level junk. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Real love is alchemy. It's a transformation. It's a process where two people push each other through fire and come out as something stronger, purer, and almost unrecognizable from what they were before. You want the spiritual side. It's not just about how good it feels. It's about how much it changes you. Love is a mirror. It shows you the darkest corners of yourself you've been avoiding. It brings your weaknesses to the surface. It exposes your fears, your ego, your bad habits. Why? So they can be burned away. That's the alchemy. That's the gold-making process. It's turning raw human mess into something that shines. But here's where people screw it up. They run. The second love stops feeling easy, they bail. They treat love like a consumer product. Oh, this one's broken, I'll just get a new one. No, real love demands you stand there in the heat and let it cook you. It's going to hurt. It's going to stretch you. It's going to destroy the version of you that can't handle depth. And that's exactly the point. And when two people commit to that process, when they both agree to do the inner work, that's when it becomes spiritual. It's not just attraction. It's union. It's two souls sharpening each other like steel against steel. And once you've been through that, you don't just love differently. You live differently, but you can't fake it. You can't skip steps. You can't expect alchemy without the furnace. And if you're too soft, too impatient, too selfish, you'll never taste the gold. So ask yourself, do you want the Instagram version of love that dies the second it's inconvenient? Or do you want the kind of love that burns you down, purifies you, and leaves you standing as the truest version of yourself? If it's the second one, be ready to fight, be ready to be humbled, be ready to be transformed. Because that's the spiritual side of love no one talks about, and it's the only version worth living for. Love is not just an emotion, it is a process, a transformation, something far deeper than the surface-level sweetness the world sells you. When it's real, when it's deep, it doesn't just stay still. It moves, it changes you, it changes them. This is why I call it alchemy. In ancient times, alchemy was about turning base metal into gold. It was about taking something raw, ordinary, unrefined, and putting it through a process so intense that it came out valuable, pure, and unbreakable. That is exactly what true love does to people. It starts with two individuals, each with their flaws, fears, and insecurities. Two imperfect human beings carrying scars from the past. Two sets of habits, defenses, and blind spots. And then they meet. At first, it might feel easy. There's attraction, energy, connection. But that's just the beginning. Because the moment you truly open your heart to someone, the work begins. Love starts to act like a mirror. It reflects back all the parts of yourself you've been ignoring, your impatience, your pride, your jealousy, your fear of vulnerability. Things you thought you had under control suddenly come alive, not to punish you, but to purify you. This is the fire of alchemy, and most people don't want that fire. They want comfort, not growth. They want the idea of love without the heat of transformation. So when the reflection gets uncomfortable, they pull back, they run. They tell themselves the other person is the problem. But here's the truth. When you run from that heat, you run from the very thing that could make you gold. Love isn't just about finding someone who makes you happy. It's about finding someone who makes you grow. And growth never happens without friction, without pressure, without discomfort. The ancient alchemists didn't create gold by wishing it into existence. They worked, they endured the process. They let the fire burn away everything that wasn't pure. In love, that fire might look like tough conversations, moments where your ego takes a hit, situations that force you to choose humility over pride, times when you have to listen instead of defending yourself. Moments where you have to let go of control and trust. And yes, it's hard. It can be exhausting. It can even feel like too much at times. But that's because you're being reshaped. You're being refined. You're shedding the old version of yourself that can't hold real love, because real love requires strength. Not the kind that comes from pretending to be tough, but the kind that comes from being broken open and rebuilt. That's what makes it spiritual. You're not just building a relationship, you're building yourself, and they're building themselves, and together you create something stronger than either of you could be alone. This is why love as alchemy is rare. It demands courage. It demands the willingness to face your own darkness. It demands that you stop blaming the other person and start asking, what is this trying to teach me? When you see love through this lens, challenges stop being threats. They become the very tools that shape the gold inside you. Misunderstandings become opportunities for deeper understanding. Disagreements become lessons in respect and patience. Moments of distance become reminders of why closeness matters. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you both begin to change. You notice you're more patient than you used to be. You notice you can express your feelings without fear. You notice you can hold space for someone else's pain without making it about you. This is the transformation. This is the alchemy. You're no longer just two separate individuals holding on to each other for comfort. You're two people actively shaping each other into something better, stronger, more alive. And just like gold, the bond becomes more resistant to corrosion. It stops being fragile. It becomes something that can stand the test of time, not because it's perfect, but because it's been tested. Tested in fire, tested in honesty, tested in the willingness to face the parts of yourself you'd rather hide. Every time you choose to stay when it's easier to go, you're refining the gold. Every time you speak with honesty when silence would be safer, you're refining the gold. Every time you forgive without keeping score, you're refining the gold. The beauty of love as alchemy is that you don't just end up with a better relationship. You end up with a better self, a version of you that's been stripped of the unnecessary weight. A version of you that knows how to give and receive without fear. A version of you that understands love is not about possession. It's about transformation. The process will test you. It will ask for patience when you're frustrated. It will ask for compassion when you're hurt. It will ask for courage when you're scared. And the more you answer those calls, the more you see the gold begin to appear, not all at once, not in some dramatic, magical moment, but little by little in the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you show up. That's when you realize the truth. Love doesn't just make life sweeter, it makes life deeper. It makes you more than you were before. And it does it by putting you through the same process the alchemists trusted for centuries, burning away what's false, revealing what's real, and turning the raw, unrefined metal of two human souls into something that lasts. Love has this strange way of holding up a mirror to you, not the kind of mirror you check before leaving the house, not the one that only shows you the parts you like. This mirror goes deeper. It shows you what's underneath the image you try to project. It reflects the flaws you've been hiding from, the insecurities you've buried so deep you almost forgot they were there, the weaknesses you've worked hard to disguise from the world, and it does it without asking for your permission. When you open yourself to someone, you also open the door to seeing yourself in ways you never expected. Their words, their reactions, even their silences, they all start to reveal pieces of you. Sometimes it's beautiful. You see strengths you never gave yourself credit for. You realize you can be more patient, more compassionate, more generous than you thought. But other times it's uncomfortable, painfully uncomfortable. You notice your defensiveness. You notice how quickly you shut down when you feel misunderstood. You see your need to control, your fear of being vulnerable, your habit of assuming the worst, and the deeper the connection, the clearer that mirror becomes. You can't hide in love the way you can hide in the world. Because the closer someone gets to your heart, the more they reflect back what's really inside it. And that's where the growth begins. It's not easy to face. It's much easier to point at them and say, "You're making me feel this way." But love doesn't create your flaws, it only reveals them. It's like sunlight pouring into a dusty room. The dust was always there, you just couldn't see it until the light hit it. The person you love becomes that light. They're not trying to expose you to hurt you. They're simply being close enough to you that they can't help but illuminate the truth. And once you see it, you have a choice. You can ignore it and blame them for making you uncomfortable, or you can accept that the discomfort is actually a sign you're being shown what needs to change. This is where a lot of relationships break. Not because there's no love, but because people aren't ready to face themselves. They want the warmth without the light. They want to feel loved without having to look at what love reveals. But the mirror effect is not a punishment, it's an invitation. An invitation to grow into the person you're capable of being. When you see your impatience, you can practice slowing down. When you see your fear of abandonment, you can work on building trust. When you see your habit of shutting down, you can learn to stay present in the conversation. Every reflection is a message. It's love saying, "This is what's standing between you and the deeper connection you want." And here's the truth. If you walk away without facing it, you'll just meet it again in the next relationship. Because the mirror isn't the person, it's you. You carry it with you wherever you go, and until you're willing to look, you'll keep bumping into the same reflections. But if you choose to face them, everything changes. The relationship deepens, the trust grows, the love becomes more solid, more real. Because now it's not just built on the parts of you that are easy to love, it's built on the parts of you that had to be healed. And when someone loves you through your healing, that love becomes unshakable. The mirror effect also works both ways. Just as they reflect you, you reflect them. Your presence can show them their own patterns, their own fears, their own walls. Sometimes that's hard to watch because growth isn't always graceful. It can come with resistance, with arguments, with moments where both of you want to pull back. But those moments are part of the work. They're the proof that you're in something real enough to challenge you. Love without the mirror effect stays shallow. It stays in the realm of pretending, of avoiding, of keeping things nice, but never truly deep. The mirror is what brings depth. It's what forces you to take off the mask. It's what makes you stand in the raw truth of who you are and ask, "Am I willing to become better?" And if the answer is yes, then every flaw revealed becomes a gift. Because now you can do something about it, now you can grow, now you can take what you see and turn it into something stronger, kinder, more open. The mirror doesn't lie, it doesn't sugarcoat, it doesn't bend to your ego. It just shows you exactly what's there. And in love, that's the most valuable thing you can be given. The truth of yourself, even when it's hard to see. Because if you can face that truth, you can become someone who loves more fully, more deeply, and more honestly than you ever imagined. Love isn't just about the good moments. It's not just about the smiles, the laughter, or the times when everything feels easy. Real love has a furnace, a place where heat builds, pressure rises, and comfort is stripped away. And it's inside that furnace where growth happens. The furnace is the part of love nobody romanticizes. It's the arguments that leave you raw. It's the nights when you lie awake, wondering if you can make it work. It's the moments when you feel misunderstood, unseen, or even unappreciated. It's the weight of having to face your own mistakes, not just theirs. The furnace is where the illusions burn away. It's where you're forced to confront the gap between the love you wish you could have, and the love you're actually capable of giving, and it's uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Because just like metal can't be strengthened without fire, love can't be deepened without challenge. The furnace is the testing ground. It's where you learn patience when you'd rather lash out. It's where you learn humility when your pride wants to win. It's where you learn to stay when everything in you is screaming to run. Growth in love means accepting that discomfort isn't a sign something's broken. It's a sign something is being built. But here's the problem. Most people don't want the furnace. They want the warmth without the burn. They want the benefits without the process. So when love gets hot, when it starts pressing on their weaknesses, they pull away. They think the heat means it's the wrong relationship. But more often than not, the heat just means you've hit the place where real change can happen. The furnace is where your old ways of thinking, your old patterns, your old wounds, all of it, comes to the surface, and you can either let it destroy you or let it refine you. It's not a place for ego. It's not a place for pretending. It's a place for surrender. Surrendering to the fact that you will be challenged, that you will be uncomfortable, that you will have to give more than you thought you could. The furnace will make you question yourself. It will make you see how selfish you can be. It will make you realize how quick you are to assume, to judge, to close off. It will force you to decide whether you value you being right more than you value the relationship. And that decision, the one you make in the heat, is what determines whether love grows or dies. The truth is, the furnace is not trying to destroy the love. It's trying to destroy everything that's holding it back. It's burning away the insecurities that keep you guarded. It's melting down the pride that keeps you distant. It's softening the stubbornness that keeps you from saying, "I'm sorry." The furnace teaches you resilience. It teaches you that you can stay in the hard moments without running. It teaches you that emotional discomfort is not the enemy, it's the path, and the more you endure it together, the stronger the bond becomes. Think about it. Metal that's been through the fire can handle more pressure than metal that's never been tested. Love works the same way. When you've been through the furnace and stayed, when you've endured the discomfort and faced the challenges, you emerge with something that can't be easily broken. The connection becomes deeper, the trust becomes unshakable, and the love stops being just a feeling. It becomes a choice you've proven in the heat. But that choice is forged moment by moment. It's forged in the arguments where you choose to listen instead of attack. It's forged in the times you put your partner's needs ahead of your own pride. It's forged in the willingness to admit when you're wrong, even when it's humiliating. The furnace doesn't give out instant rewards. It works slowly, painfully, relentlessly. And that's why it's so powerful. Because everything that survives the furnace is real. It's been tested. It's been stripped of illusions and false promises. It's been built on something solid. Every couple who's been together for years and still thrives has a furnace story. They've been through the heat. They've faced the doubts, the fears, the moments they thought it was over, and instead of running, they stayed. They let the fire change them. They let it strip away the parts of themselves that couldn't sustain real love. That's why their bond feels different. It's not fragile because it's been strengthened in pressure. It's not naive because it's seen the hardest parts and chosen to keep going. The furnace doesn't just change the relationship, it changes the people in it. It gives you patience you never thought you had. It gives you compassion you didn't know was possible. It teaches you to hold space for someone's flaws while still believing in their potential. And when you've lived through that, love stops being a soft, fragile thing. It becomes something fierce, something steady, something capable of withstanding storms, not because the storms are easy, but because you've already faced the fire and survived. Real love is not about convenience. It's not about staying only when it's easy. It's not about keeping someone around until they no longer fit your lifestyle. Real love is about commitment, the kind of commitment that stays steady when things get hard. The kind of commitment that doesn't throw everything away the moment it stops feeling perfect. We live in a world where relationships are treated like disposable products. If it breaks, replace it. If it gets boring, upgrade it. If it gets difficult, walk away. But love doesn't work like that. At least not the kind of love that lasts. Because lasting love is built on the understanding that there will be seasons when it's not easy. There will be days when you feel disconnected, days when the spark feels dim, days when life piles on stress and you both feel worn out. And in those moments, the choice you make determines everything. You either choose convenience and walk away, or you choose commitment and stay. Commitment is not blind loyalty to something toxic. It's not about tolerating abuse or accepting disrespect. It's about standing by someone when you're both still fighting for the same vision. It's about saying, I'm here for you, even when I don't feel like it's easy right now. Real commitment means you value the relationship enough to work through the challenges. It means you're willing to have uncomfortable conversations. It means you're willing to confront your own mistakes. It means you're willing to rebuild when something breaks instead of just throwing it away, because anything worth keeping will require repair at some point. We don't throw away a house because the roof leaks. We fix the roof because the home matters to us. It's the same with love. If the foundation is strong, you fix what's broken. You don't abandon it just because it's easier in the moment. Convenience is short-term thinking. It's instant gratification. It says, if this doesn't make me happy right now, I'll find something else that will. Commitment is long-term vision. It says, this matters enough for me to invest my time, energy, and heart, even when it's uncomfortable. And here's the thing, comfort will always come and go. There will be stretches of time when everything feels effortless, and there will be times when it feels like work. The difference between people who last and people who don't is what they do in those work seasons. People who value convenience will look for the exit. People who value commitment will look for solutions. Real love requires persistence, not because the relationship should be a constant struggle, but because life will test it. Life will throw challenges at you, financial stress, health issues, personal growth that pulls you in different directions. And in those moments, you don't get to say, this is too hard, I'm done. You lean in, you talk more, you listen more, you forgive more, you adapt together. Commitment is not glamorous, it's not Instagram worthy every day. It's often quiet, steady, and uncelebrated. It's the decision to show up for someone again and again, even when you're tired, even when they're not at their best, even when you're not at your best. It's the choice to weather the storm instead of running for shelter alone. And here's the reward. Every time you choose commitment over convenience, the bond grows stronger. You build trust that can't be faked. You create a history of resilience together. You show each other that this isn't just about feelings, it's about choosing each other over and over, no matter what. That choice becomes the anchor when things get rough again in the future, because you both know you've made it through before, and you can make it through again. Commitment changes the way you see the hard times. They stop feeling like the end of the story. They start feeling like a chapter that will make the story richer. And when you come out the other side, you don't just have love. You have love that's been tested. You have love that's proven it can endure. The truth is, anyone can stay when it's easy. Anyone can love when it's convenient, but that kind of love is shallow. It doesn't last because it's never been through the fire. Only people who are willing to stick it out through the hard parts ever get to experience the depth of love that comes from real commitment. And once you've had that, convenience will never be enough. There's a level of love most people never reach. It's deeper than attraction, deeper than compatibility, deeper than all the surface level stuff that makes up most relationships. It's not just romance. It's not just passion. It's something sacred, a spiritual union. It's when two souls don't just stand next to each other. They merge, not in a way that erases individuality, but in a way that makes each person sharper, clearer, more alive. A spiritual union is not about completing each other. It's about expanding each other. It's about seeing the potential in the other person and doing everything you can to help bring it out. It's about holding each other accountable to the highest version of yourselves. In this kind of love, you're not afraid to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because you're not trying to please each other. You're trying to grow together, and growth is never a smooth, easy path. It's full of friction, challenge, and reflection. That's what makes it spiritual, because in the process of loving each other, you're also refining each other. You're acting like mirrors, showing each other strengths you didn't know you had and flaws you can no longer ignore. It's the kind of connection that forces you to evolve. In most relationships, people avoid hard truths. They hide parts of themselves. They let fear dictate how honest they can be. But in a spiritual union, hiding isn't an option. The connection is too real. The bond is too strong. The trust is too deep. You know that revealing your wounds won't push the other person away. It will pull them closer. And because of that, you stop pretending. You stop wearing masks. You stop living at the surface. Instead, you step into the raw, unfiltered version of yourself, knowing they'll meet you there. In this space, love stops being a feeling and becomes a force. A force that challenges you, a force that inspires you, a force that refuses to let you stay small. You start noticing how you carry yourself differently. You start noticing how you think bigger, dream bigger, and act with more courage, because they believe in you. And you believe in them. You become each other's source of strength, not by rescuing each other, but by sharpening each other. It's like steel against steel. Sometimes it sparks, sometimes it grinds, but it always makes the edge sharper. A spiritual union doesn't shy away from challenges. It leans into them, knowing they're part of the process. Arguments aren't about winning. They're about understanding. Disagreements aren't threats. They are opportunities to grow in empathy and patience. Even silence has weight because you both know the connection exists beyond words, and the beauty is this kind of love can't be faked. It can't be built on shallow attraction or temporary chemistry. It only happens when both people are willing to show up fully. It only happens when both people are committed to the work of becoming better humans, not just better partners. In a spiritual union, you celebrate each other's victories as if they're your own. You carry each other's burdens without keeping score. You push each other toward dreams without letting fear get in the way. You become a team in the truest sense, not just facing life side by side, but moving through it as one. It's not always easy. There will be moments of tension, moments of doubt, moments where you question if you can keep growing at the same pace. But that's what makes it real, because in those moments you choose to stay. You choose to adapt together. You choose to keep moving forward, even when it's uncomfortable. And every time you do, the bond deepens. You start to see the relationship not just as something you have, but as something you are building, a living, breathing creation that grows with you. Over time, you realize that this connection has changed you in ways nothing else could. It has made you braver. It has made you softer in the right ways and stronger in the hard ways. It has made you more compassionate, not just toward your partner, but toward the world. Because once you've experienced love that sharpens you, you can't help but see life differently. The small things stop mattering so much. Petty arguments lose their power. What matters is the vision you share, the life you're building, and the way you're both evolving along the way. This kind of union becomes a spiritual practice in itself. Every conversation, every challenge, every act of kindness becomes part of the transformation. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about knowing that together, you're more than the sum of your parts. And the deeper you go, the more you realize that this merging of souls isn't about losing yourself, it's about finally becoming who you were always meant to be. Everyone wants the beauty of deep love. They want the connection, the intimacy, the unshakable trust. But what they don't want is the process it takes to get there. They want it fast. They want it easy. They want the final result without walking the road that leads to it. But in love, there are no shortcuts. You can't skip the hard conversations. You can't avoid the uncomfortable truths. You can't plaster over cracks with fake smiles and expect the foundation to hold. Deep transformation in love is slow. It's deliberate. It requires patience that will test you, and honesty that will strip you bare. It's not a weekend project. It's not something you can microwave and have ready in 3 minutes. It's a process that unfolds over time with every choice you make and every challenge you face together. And here's the part most people miss: you can't fake it. You can pretend for a while. You can put on the mask of harmony, act like nothing's wrong, and smile for the world. But the truth will always surface, because in love, what's fake will eventually collapse under its own weight. You can't build something real on top of dishonesty. You can't create depth while hiding the parts of yourself you don't want to deal with. Real love demands that you bring your full self to the table, not just the polished version, not just the parts you're proud of, all of it, the fears, the flaws, the insecurities, the dreams, the desires. It demands that you show up even when you're scared they won't like what they see, and that takes courage. It takes the courage to have the conversations that make your heart race, the courage to admit when you're wrong, the courage to face your own patterns instead of blaming them for everything. Patience plays a huge role here, because transformation in love isn't instant. It's built one moment at a time, one honest exchange at a time, one act of trust at a time. And sometimes you won't see the progress right away. You'll feel like you've been working at it for months and nothing has changed. But love is like planting a seed. You don't see the roots growing beneath the surface. You just have to keep watering it, keep nurturing it, keep believing that what you're doing will bear fruit. The people who give up too soon never see the transformation. They dig up the seed before it's had a chance to grow. They want the flower without the weight, the reward without the effort, but deep love doesn't work like that. It takes staying through the awkward stages. It takes showing grace when mistakes are made. It takes committing to the process, even when it feels like nothing is moving, and honesty is the glue that holds it all together. Without honesty, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no depth. Without depth, there is no transformation. Being honest in love doesn't just mean telling the truth, it means living in truth. It means aligning your actions with your words. It means saying how you really feel instead of burying it until it explodes. It means being real about your needs, your boundaries, and your limits. And it also means being open to hearing the truth from them, even when it stings. Because honesty isn't always comfortable, but it's always necessary. You can't shortcut your way to emotional intimacy. You can't rush trust. You can't bypass vulnerability and expect to arrive at a place of closeness. You have to walk through it, step by step, moment by moment. That's why the strongest relationships don't happen overnight. They are forged over time, through countless small acts of showing up and telling the truth, through staying when it's tempting to walk away, through choosing connection over ego, patience over frustration, and honesty over convenience. And when you've gone through that process, when you've taken the long road without cutting corners, what you end up with is worth more than anything that came easy. Because you'll know it's real, you'll know it's been tested, you'll know it can hold the weight of life's challenges. There's no thrill in skipping the steps, because what you skip is what makes it strong. Every challenge you face, every truth you speak, every moment you wait instead of rushing, it all adds layers to the bond, And those layers are what keep it standing when the storms hit. So if you're looking for something that lasts, forget shortcuts. Take the slow road, be patient, be honest, do the work, because love built this way isn't just deep, it's unshakable. Not all love is worth keeping. Not all love is worth giving your heart to. Some love feels good for a moment, but leaves you empty in the end. Some love gives you a rush, a thrill, a spark, but it burns out just as fast as it started. It's easy to confuse excitement with depth. It's easy to mistake chemistry for connection. But the truth is, the only love worth having is the one that changes you for the better. The one that doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you grow. It's the love that challenges you, the love that inspires you to step into a higher version of yourself. The love that calls you out when you're playing small and reminds you of what you're capable of. This kind of love isn't about constant comfort, it's about transformation. It's about two people coming together not just to enjoy life, but to build each other into something greater than they could ever be alone. It's a love that requires effort. It asks for honesty when it would be easier to stay quiet. It demands patience when you're frustrated and persistence when things feel heavy. It's not always easy, but that's exactly why it's worth it. Because the moments of struggle are the same moments that shape you. They are the moments that teach you to listen better, to love deeper, to forgive faster. They are the moments that show you who you really are and who you still have the potential to become. Love that just feels good in the moment doesn't do that. It doesn't dig deep. It doesn't push you past your limits. It doesn't care about your growth. It only cares about the high it gives you right now. And when the high fades, so does the connection. That's why so many people jump from one relationship to another, chasing the feeling instead of the transformation. But the only love worth having asks more from you than just showing up when it's fun. It asks you to stay when it's hard. It asks you to work through the misunderstandings instead of running from them. It asks you to look at yourself in the mirror and deal with the parts you'd rather ignore. And in return, it gives you something no shallow love ever could. It gives you depth. It gives you trust that can't be shaken. It gives you a bond that can weather life's storms. The kind of love worth having will make you more patient. It will make you more compassionate. It will make you more aware of how your actions affect someone else. It will strip away selfishness and replace it with understanding. It will teach you how to hold space for another human being without losing yourself. It will expand your capacity to give and receive love in ways you never thought possible. But it only does that if you're willing to let it. If you're willing to lean in when it's uncomfortable. If you're willing to grow instead of retreat. If you're willing to value what you're building over how you're feeling in a single moment. And here's the truth. Sometimes this kind of love doesn't start with fireworks. Sometimes it starts quietly. Sometimes it grows slowly, built brick by brick through trust, honesty, and shared experiences. Sometimes it doesn't even look extraordinary to the outside world, but to you it's everything, because it's real, because it lasts, because it's shaping you into the person you were meant to be. Love that only feels good in the moment will always be tempting. It's like sugar. It gives you a burst of energy but leaves you drained later. Love that changes you for the better is like nourishment. It may take longer to prepare, but it sustains you. It feeds you. It keeps you going when life gets heavy. It reminds you of who you are when you forget. It pulls you back to your center when you get lost. It's not just about how it makes you feel, it's about who you become because of it. When you look back years from now, you won't remember every exciting moment. You'll remember the way this love helped you stand taller. You'll remember the way it taught you to be gentle without being weak, strong without being harsh. You'll remember the way it stayed when things got messy. The way it healed wounds you didn't even know you had. The way it gave you the courage to face yourself, not just once, but over and over again. That's the love worth having. The one that leaves you better than it found you. The one that deepens with time instead of fading. The one that becomes part of who you are, not just a chapter in your story. So when you think about the kind of love you want, don't just ask yourself how it makes you feel today. Ask yourself who it will make you tomorrow. Ask yourself if it will push you to grow, to rise, to become more. Ask yourself if it will still be there when the excitement fades, when life gets messy, when you are both stretched to your limits. Because in the end, the only love worth keeping is the love that builds you, the love that strengthens you, the love that leaves you standing taller, wiser, and more whole than you've ever been. Anything less is just a moment. But this kind of love, this is forever.